Steve. Yeah, it's lovely to present these two speakers today from Melta, from the Melta project. Alzinda Domingos is the Senior Education Officer at the Ministry of Education and Culture in Mozambique. She's the Head of Languages Division at the National Directorate of Secondary Education. She has an MA in Teaching English as a Foreign Language, and she is the General Assembly President of Melta, and a British Council teacher trainer as well. And then we have Baraza. Baraza Amade was born in Maputo in Mozambique. He's been an ELT teacher and trainer since 2003. He's got a degree in ELT from the Pedagogic University, an ICELT certificate, and he's doing his Delta course at the moment. He's doing the Module 1 and Module 2 now, I think. He's the Vice President of Melta, which of course is the Mozambique English Language Teacher Association, and he's passionate about teaching and continuing professional development. So I'd like to hand over to them to tell you a lot more about planning, lesson planning, the project they did, and what they produced through ChatGPT. Over to you, Alzinda, to start.
Thank you, Linda. Here are 5 core objectives I have set for this webinar, and due to time constraints, I will only highlight a few. The first one focuses on what makes a good lesson planning. The third one, which shows in what way AI can help teachers to plan their lessons. And the fourth one, that is reporting on our Melta British Council 2024-2025 projects. Next. I have this slide with a warmer. This slide describes a situation where I have to plan a lesson for the students that are hungry and tired. Could you please suggest me what to do? Your answers should be written in the chat. Right? No suggestions? Good. I can see that I have the first suggestion, which reads, plan something energizing, but not too demanding. That's very good. That's very good. Okay, allow me now share with you some of the suggestions that I have made. I would recommend to start with a quick and healthy snack break. I would also suggest to integrate short physical activities to get them moving. I would encourage them by holding an interactive discussion. I would also break them into small groups to work on a collaborative task. And of course, I would also turn the lesson into a game or competition. Having given these suggestions, I believe that they will be actively participating in the lesson. Next slide, please. Why do teachers need to plan lessons? To answer this question, you will have to establish, sorry. I have suggested here some answers to why teachers need to plan lessons. And again, I will only highlight 2. The very first one, which helps teachers to foresee what the lesson will look like. So it means that if you envision, you are anticipating probably possible problems and so forth. So it's always important to anticipate these problems before you plan your lesson. And then the last one, which is aimed at showing that the teacher is trained, the teacher is skilled, and he's confident. These are just a few of the reasons, but you are free to share other suggestions in the chat. Maybe I could give you a minute for you to add some of the reasons to why the teachers have to plan lessons. Okay, right, very good. I have answers here in the chat to plan timing to fit everything in the lesson. Okay, first, not to be faced with the problems in front of the students. Then a good lesson is first a planned lesson at home and so forth. So I will not read them all, but I think you have got an idea of what suggestions the participants have shared with us. Next. We have this question: how does this relate to a lesson planning? To answer this question, you will have to establish the relationship between the flower plant and the lesson plan. Maybe to make it easier for you, I'll do the first one as an example. So you have number one, the seed, which is related to the objectives. So the seed is the objective of the lesson. Can you spend some few seconds to feel or to give the answers to the 5 remaining questions and establish the relationship between this flower plant and the lesson planning? Okay, I can see here, number one is the root. Okay, that depends on how you interpret it. Well, okay. So number one is the seed. Yes, right. Okay, so there is a correction that has been made by the participant saying that number one shouldn't be the root, but the seed. Yes, that's very good. Okay. Second is the class where you are teaching the lesson. Yes, exactly. The context, really, that is the context. Very well, very good, sorry. Flower methods, yes. To time, okay, what to prioritize, the activities, what comes first, the steps, and so forth. All right, I will share with you the possible relationship we have established. I'm not saying that you are not right, you are right. It's just because we want to share what I've got here as the possible relationship that can be established. Next, Linda. So you can see there, and some of the participants have done it well, and some corrections have been made, which is okay, right? So this is the possible key to that question, but other answers are also welcome, and that will enable us enrich the possible relationship that we have to establish between this flower plant and the lesson plan. Okay, next slide, please. Where to start? I have suggested here 6 lesson plan principles in an attempt to answer this question, right? So starting from the first, I will not read them all, but I will just give a few examples. The first, a teacher can never plan a lesson without taking into account what comes in the syllabus, right? What comes in the syllabus. So when planning, you have to have in mind that you have to follow the syllabus. The lesson plan must deal with only one language item at a time. Don't select many language items because that might be confusing the students. All right, you can also plan a lesson with a variety of activities. This is very important, not having the very same activities in each and every lesson. Right? Okay, next slide, please. Which of these are most important? Have some seconds to look at this slide and select the components of the lesson plan that you think are important or are the most important for the lesson plan. All right, very good. We have some answers in the chat. Oh, yes. So aims, objectives, differentiation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 1, 2, no, 1, 3, 4, 5. Very, very, very good. I can see from the chat that some have selected all the components of the lesson plan, and the others have just selected a few. Maybe I should share with you a remark here. This is to say that depending on the purpose of the lesson, you might select all or some. For instance, if I'm planning a skills lesson, phonology might not be the most important. But I will use phonology if, for instance, I'm planning a grammar lesson with a focus on pronunciation. So, as I said earlier on, depending on the purpose of the lesson, you will have to select all or a few. Next slide, please. Thank you, Linda. What procedures can teachers follow while planning? I have selected 5 core procedures I found very relevant. For example, the first one, which tells us what to do to achieve our goals. So we really needed to say exactly what do we want to achieve. And the last one, which leads us to a self-reflection of what can eventually go well or badly. So this is important because having self-reflection will help the teacher replan the lesson or improve the forthcoming lesson plans. I will also invite you to share other procedures you think are very relevant so that you enrich our list of procedures to follow when teachers are planning lessons. Over to you, Baraza.
Hello, good evening all. And thank you, Alzinda, thank you very much for the flow. I'm going to continue with the presentation from now on. But I'd like to start by reminding the participants about the main objectives behind this webinar. So I'll mention two. I'm sure Alzinda has mentioned them before, but I think some of you joined a bit late and we couldn't get them. Now, the main objectives of this webinar is, first of all, to show or to showcase how AI can be used to help us plan our lessons. And the second main objective is briefly to report on our Malta and British Council 2024-2025 project, which is mainly about designing lesson plans and resources to teach grade 8 Mozambican students with the help of AI. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, you're there, Linda. It took a while. Okay. So here is a question, actually one main question and other subsidiary questions. But I'd like to start my presentation at this point by reflecting on what is AI. Does anyone know? If you do, please write your answers in the chat box. But I guess you know, and I'm sure you do, most of you at least. It's certainly one of the most talked about subjects over the last few years, isn't it? Especially in the field of education, which is where we are, most of us, I hope so. So basically, AI stands for artificial intelligence. So the question I'd like to raise is, and this is to you all, as a teacher or, excuse me, as a teacher or someone involved in the field of education, how do you feel about AI, right? So I think it all begins with how you feel towards it, isn't it? So please write your answers in the chat box so we also get an idea of how you feel about it. And the questions are there. Should we use AI? Should we use artificial intelligence to help us plan our lessons or not? Over to you. Again, write your answers in the chat box. I'm waiting. I can't see any. Maybe I should just scroll it down. Okay, there you are. Wow, you're so fast. Artificial intelligence. Wow, good, good, good. Yes, teachers should use AI when planning a lesson. Okay. It helps us design lessons. Too much dependence is bad. Otherwise, it is helpful. Wow, lots of brilliant answers. Yeah. I guess if I were to read them all, I wouldn't do much in this presentation. But anyways, thanks a lot, everybody. Well done, well done. These are very, very useful answers. Now, next slide, please. Now, I'm sure this summarizes most of the answers that you shared in the chat box. Can you see them? So there's reasons for and reasons against. It's just a summary. There are plenty. Most of your answers are correct, I'm sure. So as you can see, AI can be useful, or it is extremely useful, but it's got its advantages and disadvantages, like anything else, right? But for the sake of time management, and also for the sake of the objective of this presentation, I'm going to focus more on the advantages rather than on the disadvantages. As you can see on the left, it says it's quick, or if you like AI, to use AI for planning lessons, it's quick. In fact, it takes you a few seconds. Yeah, 1 second, 2 seconds, just a few seconds, less than a minute. So it saves so much of our time, which is really, really precious. As teachers, we know what that means. AI provides accurate English, which also is good for us because it saves us, it spares us from the amount of work in checking or proofreading materials. It's creative. In fact, we'll be talking about these points in more details as we move along. It produces personalized materials like texts about local area, and this is a very good point, which we'll come back to. So as you can see, lots and lots of advantages. There are disadvantages, as I mentioned, but I'm not going to focus on them now. I'm very sorry for those of you who are pessimistic about it. But if you want to know my opinion, I am an enthusiast, and I would say a preacher of AI. Since I've discovered AI and I've learned about AI, or the ABC of AI, I've been so passionate about it. And this is why, despite the downsides of it, I am for AI. I am for planning lessons using AI. That's why I'm here. That's why we, as Melta, we as an association, we decided to embark on this journey, on this project, which is to design lesson plans using AI. Now, what else? Well, there's so much more. Next slide, please. Okay, let's learn a bit more. Well, I think I am to learn more than most of you here in this regard. So I'd really love to learn from you and get your answers. Do you know the answers to any of these questions? Please write in the chat box. It could be randomly, it doesn't have to follow this specific order. As long as you indicate the number, it's okay. So 1 or so minutes. Okay. Good, brilliant. I can see some answers. This is so fast. As AI is intelligent enough to use many languages to express an idea or thought. 9, no. What's 9 about? Will AI teachers replace us? Very good question. And well, I don't know if the answer is a very good answer, but yeah, definitely it's a very good question. Will AI teachers replace us? We don't know. AI is not creative. Some people are saying that's for number 2. Number 1, we use language prompts. That's for number 1, and so on and so forth. It keeps coming. Sometimes I can't read it. It's so fast. No, I don't think so for number 9. Yeah, I can see most of you are saying no to being replaced by bots, to being replaced by AI, right? So you believe human teachers will always be better than AI teachers, no? Yeah. Eventually, that's my opinion as well. Yeah, we are humans and we are special, and AI are machines, are bots, and they depend on us. We tell them what to do, don't we? Okay, so anyways, thank you very much. Linda, next slide, please. Okay, very good. Excellent. So just like I said, it's so many questions to answer, right? 10 questions, and eventually some of you know the answers to all of them, but others may be struggling to answer them all. And I'm afraid we won't have much time to tackle them all here in this session. But I have here something that is very useful that can help you go through all the 10 questions and so much more in greater detail, which is this link here you see on the left. Steve, do you mind sharing it in the chat box? So this is a very useful link which deals specifically with generative AI and all the questions that we mentioned before. Thank you, Steve. Well done. Now, I guess I need a second to visualize. No, not before the previous slide, Linda. Just hold on a second. Okay, brilliant. Now, I'd like to mention a couple of things. There were 10 questions, but I'm going to focus on this one. You can see up there. What can generative AI be used for? Still in line with the advantages that I said I was going to focus more on. Now, again, it's a huge list, but I'm going to share or read some out for you. AI is mainly or is commonly used to produce text. We can use it to produce a lot of media. We can produce images out of AI. We can produce music and songs. We can produce videos. We can produce lesson plans. And this is our main focus, our main point here. Not only lesson plans, but also we can create resources. We can create worksheets. We can create role plays. We can create quizzes and a number of other things. So it's a very useful tool. It's an amazing tool, isn't it? To be honest, I am already in love with it, and I hope most of you are as well. Next slide, please. Okay, I think I've mentioned this in a way, but maybe what is important here to refer to is the fact that, well, we're mentioning ChatGPT for the first time, and we're shifting. To some of you, it may seem as if we're shifting from AI to ChatGPT, and you may not understand the relationship between them. Now, here is some information for those of you who might not know or understand what ChatGPT is. ChatGPT, just like Gemini and other apps, they are large language models, okay? And we as Melta, we decided to use ChatGPT to help us plan our lessons. Yeah, that's why the name ChatGPT here, because that's the app or that's the application from AI that we use to plan our lessons. And here is a number of things, as I mentioned before, that AI, or to be more specific, ChatGPT can do for us. It can help us plan a full lesson, create a text. I've mentioned all this, but essentially ChatGPT or AI can help us with anything we want, literally. I risk saying literally. Yes, just give it a try and you'll see. Okay, next slide, Linda. Okay, very good. So now we've come to the second main objective of this webinar, which is to talk about Melta and British Council project. Now here I've got a couple of things to share with you. I hope to be brief enough. This project consists on designing lesson plans and resources. And this is meant for teachers to use with grade 8 students in secondary schools in Mozambique. So what's behind it and what's within it? I'll mention a couple of things that guide us to come up with this project. The first thing is there was no syllabus, or there is no syllabus. Actually, I'm lying. There is a syllabus, but there are no course books. Yeah. So we are stuck somehow. Teachers are stuck because they have one instrument, which is very important, the syllabus, but they don't have the course books in place. It's not a normal situation. We used to have course books for students. So one of the reasons behind this project, one of the thoughts behind this project, is to help teachers to supplement this gap, to fill in this gap, which is the lack of course books. This project is drawn from a previous experience with Prelim. Hope you can see here, Prelim 3 project in 2022, 2023. What happened here was a UK partner, the Celtic English Academy, or Melta, in collaboration with the CEA, designed a resource pack for grade 7, not grade 8, but grade 7 students, which is now available on this website you see here. Steve, I hope you can also share this, meltaresources@wordpress.com. It's such a rich website. You can find it all. Yeah, I'll mention a couple of things in this presentation, but give it a try. You'll see how rich it is. And grade 7 teachers, you don't have to worry that much about planning lessons from scratch. There's plenty of materials available here. Now, teachers have limited time in which to prepare lessons. This is another reason that drove us into thinking about this resource pack for grade 8 students. So back in the days, we didn't have course books for grade 7, about 2 years ago, and we still don't have course books for grade 8. So the thought is still the same, to design a resource pack to help teachers. Now, the resource pack by no means is meant to substitute the course book or any other material available or within the Ministry of Education, but rather it's an instrument to support teachers and help them get going with their job. What is in there? There will be about or between 60 to 80 lesson plans and resources. By resources, I mean worksheets, I mean flashcards, I mean role play cue cards, I mean all the materials, all the resources that are needed to help teachers plan their lessons or deliver their lessons better. Well, there's so much more, but it seems like Linda is prompting me to move on. So thank you, Linda, for this. Now, you might be asking yourselves, how are we organized? How are we structured? And how do we support our teachers? Yeah, here are some steps that we took and we're still taking in order to help our teachers plan their lesson through AI or through ChatGPT, to be more specific. We started by organizing a webinar to explain the approach and how teachers will be supported. We held 3 face-to-face workshops. In fact, there are 2, one in the north and another one in the center of the country. We're missing one in the south of Mozambique, which is coming up soon. We selected teachers, obviously, for this task. We selected Malta reps, Malta representatives, and provincial English advisors, all are Ministry of Education staff. So we are working in collaboration with the Ministry of Education in this regard. Now, we assigned each province a unit. So they're working on 1 unit each. And we expect 6 to 8 lesson plans per unit. And, we've done, and we did so many things to get to the point where we are. We held meetings online, face-to-face meetings to demonstrate how ChatGPT can be used to plan lessons and to assist or check progress. We have a WhatsApp group and we assist teachers and we share supporting materials. And also the teachers are being supported by Malta governing bodies. So there's one Malta governing body supporting the teams that are involved in lesson planning. All right, next. Okay, so what we have here is some tools, some instruments that we are using in the process of planning our lessons. Here is on the left, here you see it's a template. So all teachers are supposed to use this template to plan their lessons. So once ChatGPT has done its job, the teachers have to, insert the information in the ChatGPT to this lesson plan template. We also came up with the lesson plan checklist with about 10 points or 10 questions. Some of these questions are here. There's 7 here, but there are 10 altogether. So these questions are helping teachers design their lessons. The first question, for instance, says, is the lesson plan aligned to the national curriculum? And this is very important. We want the lesson plans to be aligned to the national curriculum. Does it address local, cultural, linguistic, and contextual realities? Is it accessible, inclusive, and appropriate for students at elementary level? We suppose grade 8 is elementary here. So a number of questions for teachers to reflect on as they plan their lessons. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, good. Now, very interesting point. Where do we start? Where do we start? How did we get started with ChatGPT? So it all begins with a prompt. It all begins with a prompt, obviously. The prompt must be a good prompt. Otherwise, we will not get the information that we require. So it's really, really important that we are very specific about the topic. Give as many details as possible, and ChatGPT will give you what you want. It's important to think about the context. It's important to think about the style of what you're looking for. If it's a lesson plan, think about age, think about interest, think about the text, the kind of text that you're looking for. Think about the length. Do you want a 50-word lesson plan, 200-word lesson plan? What exactly are you looking for? Now, if you want to see and learn more about this, please refer to the links. One is here on top. Please share, Steve. I hope you've shared already. And there's another one for the students. So in this process of learning AI or learning about AI, it's very important to involve the students. So down here, there's a link which is very useful to help our learners write good prompts. Okay, next slide. Okay, I'll be moving very fast here. This is one example of what ChatGPT or another form of AI can do. Just set it a good prompt and you'll get whatever you want. What we have here is role play cue cards. And the topic is on modern and traditional medicine, right? I'm sure this will be shared with you and you'll be able to see all this in greater detail without a rush. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we've talked about this in a way. We want, I mean, if you want, and this is ideal, that the materials, the text or whatever it is that you're preparing is localized, just tell ChatGPT to localize it, to make it more contextualized, and you get it. So you see there's a text here, which is about the context of Mozambique. So ChatGPT can do anything you want, literally. Next. Okay, so this is like a continuation. This, if you want reading and comprehension questions, if you want it to give you questions for gist, it does give it to you. Okay, next. Okay, what do you want now? Personalized grammar practice? There you get. Okay, you're not happy with the bills, with the Claire's and stuff. You want Marco, Anifa, you want Sandra, you want it to be more personalized. Just tell ChatGPT you want it for the context of Mozambique, for the context of Malawi, for the context of Ethiopia, and ChatGPT will do the job. Okay, next slide. Okay, now, you want a full lesson? No problem. Just ask, hey, ChatGPT, I did a full lesson. What about? Specify. It all begins with a good prompt, and voila, you get your full lesson plan in greater detail with warm-up, with all the activities that are necessary, okay? Including objectives and everything. You don't have to do much, yeah? Just prompt it, give it the right prompt. Okay, next. Next. Yeah, this is still about the same point, full lesson plan. So you see grammar, you see practice, you see wrap up. So it's all part of a full lesson plan. So it's very important you specify the number of words. Otherwise, it can get you a newspaper. It can get you lots of information. So be more specific, and you get specific information as well. All right, so move on. Next slide, please. Okay, brilliant. So we've come to one of the interesting points as well, which is challenges and possible solutions with getting teachers to produce lesson plans and resources with AI. It's not an easy task, I must say. It's challenging, but rewarding. It's really, really rewarding. Yeah. One of the challenges that if you really want to embark on it as associations, I mean, as teachers, is that there's usually very little knowledge or no knowledge at all on what AI is. So you have to start by explaining, by training people on how to use it. Sometimes teachers are not confident with planning lessons and resources. So you have to ensure that, you know, you help them achieve this confidence. And this has been happening throughout the process. Lack of resources. This is a very common thing. We don't have resources as an association to give teachers laptops for them to produce the materials or smartphones. So what they do is they share the little resources that they have, they share. Sometimes they work in pairs, sometimes they work in groups. As I said before, there's a Malta rep and a provincial English advisor in each province. So they tend to work together to make their lives easier. Now, added bonus, this is a very important point. And as I highlighted in the beginning, I think one of the best benefits here and results of all this is that everybody involved in it has learned a lot. Most of us started from scratch, yeah, from knowing nothing or very little about AI. But now we're not experts, far from it, but I can tell we've learned a lot and we've improved so much. Okay, next. Okay, so what's next? What are our next steps? Our next steps are first to design a website on similar grounds as the other website for grade 7. And then share all this material, all these lesson plans and resources in there, try them out and adapt them, you know, continually. and also continue working on localized lesson materials. Okay, next. Okay, very good. And okay, here is something I'd like to share with you also. This is another link, another very useful link with publications, the latest publications by the British Council. So what are you going to do? Try and set yourself a goal, look at it, try it out, share one new AI activity every week. Okay, if not every day, at least every week. If not every week, at least every month. But start getting engaged with AI. You know, you get better by doing it. That's what's happening with us. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Next. Now, teachers are used to giving homework, right? So here is homework for you, teachers. Please try out the following before we meet in the Telegram English Connects group next week. This discussion will continue next week, but in the Telegram. So meantime, think of your class, get ChatGPT and other AI tool to provide a personalized lesson, activity, text, quiz, you know, whatever it is. Get started, and let's meet in 1 week or so to discuss AI and a lot more. Okay, next. Okay, so next, wow, we done. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for joining. It's been wonderful meeting you. I haven't seen all here, but I'm sure there are many people from different parts of the world. So thank you so much, Linda, and your staff there for having
Thank you,
this
Baraza and Alzinda. That was great. That was so many comments in the chat saying how useful it is to everybody. But there's also lots of questions. So let's see how many questions we can get through in a couple of minutes. The first question is, how can we plan lessons with AI if we have learners in the class with different languages, if the class is multilingual? Do you have any answers for that, Baraza or Alzinda?
Okay, I can try. I'm not sure I understand the question. If the class is multilingual, well, our context here is that our learners are multilingual, but we're using English as the medium of instruction for them. So well, I don't know, maybe I didn't quite understand it, but it hasn't been a problem for us to teach in a multilingual context. Maybe the person can be more specific, or maybe you can help, I don't know, Linda.
I think what we can do is we can include all the other languages, can't we, with the newer idea of translanguaging, and we can ask ChatGPT to include bits in other languages, in any language. ChatGPT is amazing. So if you just include that in your prompt with instructions in this, and this language, it will include it. Magic.
Yep, very good. I can see AI can translate.
Of course, to any, yeah, of course. There's another great question here. What is the role, this is from Pierre, what is the role of the teacher if AI does almost all the job? That's a great question, Pierre.
Okay, good. It does almost all the job, not all the job. So as a teacher, you still have a role to play. You still have to think about who your learners are. Remember, we said it all begins with a good prompt. So ChatGPT cannot guess your context unless you tell it to guess, unless you tell it to sort of do it. So it's really important that the teacher is always there. The teacher will always be there and won't be replaced by ChatGPT in terms of logical thinking, in terms of knowing their context. So no, definitely no. You will always be needed as a teacher.
Yeah, I think we need to check everything that AI produces as well. We have to, because it could get the balance wrong. It could have errors in it. We are really needed to check what the AI is producing. Another linked question there. How can AI help in understanding our learners' needs? I think that's another one, isn't it? Because we know the needs. If we don't know the needs, ChatGPT is not going to guess them. If
Yeah.
we know the needs, we put them into ChatGPT in the prompt and they'll produce it, but it won't do that job for us. Anything else on that, Baraza? How can
No,
ChatGPT
exactly.
help?
That's what exactly you said. ChatGPT is not a witch. It's very creative, but it's still dependent on humans. We tell it what to do. We instruct it. We give commands to it. So yeah, definitely, we're still important in
There was another question earlier. Can we use it beyond lesson planning, for example, to supplement textbook resources? I think you've probably answered that.
You can use it for anything you want. Literally, well, almost. You can use it to design a syllabus. Yeah. So it's out of teaching as such, out of lesson planning, but to design syllabus, to create a play. Yeah. Right now, I'm working on a play. My kids want to perform, and I'm helping them create a play. And we can also do the same in teaching. We can ask ChatGPT to create a role play. Yeah. And we just have to prompt it. It's going to give it to us. You want music, just ask ChatGPT, whatever you want, really.
Yeah, personally, lately I've got ChatGPT to tell me how to repair my car, how to interpret dreams. You can do anything, can't it? Lots of people are asking about different platforms, like how many types of planning are there in AI? And yeah, so many platforms. Have you used any others, Baraza or Azinda, apart from ChatGPT?
No. I've only used ChatGPT in more depth, I would say. But I've been introduced to Gemini by my daughter again. But I don't have much experience with Gemini. All I've been using is ChatGPT.
There are so many. And in the Telegram
That's
discussion on Friday, I'm sure you can discuss and share links to a lot more. Yeah, DeepSeek, for example, Magic School, loads that people are sharing in the chat. This is excellent. And I think we have one more question. What are the limits of ChatGPT? You can pay, can't you, for extra? My one says sometimes my free limit has finished. So you can't use it too much each day. Any other idea of the limits, Baraza?
No, that's it. I'm using a free one as well. It keeps telling me that, especially when I use it for images. Yeah, it consumes a lot of energy, and after one or two images, it can't go further. Just
But
stops.
that's a good thing, because we shouldn't use the image and video creation too much, because that is really affecting the carbon production in the world. So it's much better to refine your prompt before you put it in. We just have 2 minutes left. I wondered if one person would like to put their hand up and ask a question. Is there anyone who has a question to ask and they'd like to raise their hand just before we end? Otherwise, there's so many more questions. We can answer all these in the discussion in Telegram on Friday. No hands up. So thank you so much, Baraza and Azinda. It's been so interesting and great to bring this project together at the end of your project. So over to Steve to close. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Zinda. Thanks, Amade. I think it was an amazing duo. You did very well in sort of, kind of breaking down your presentation in, different sections, and, having the juicy part at the end where, so bringing in, the use of AI in the classroom. I know a lot of attendees were actually waiting for that part. Very enthusiastic, and you did well in sharing so much about what you've done, what you've delivered as a team, as an association, and I hope that other teachers can sort of use this
Thanks for giving the
in their countries. And then well done on this. Just like to thank everyone for their participation as well. We've seen so many comments. I think I was trying to most of the comments, but I was overwhelmed at some points. So thanks so much for the for the enthusiasm, and then we actually hope to see you next week, next Friday, 5 p.m. GMT as always, where we have the opportunity to ask more questions to our two presenters, and then eventually get deeper into the topic of AI and lesson planning. So thanks Linda. Also thank Abel and Blessing for working in the background. So I wish you all a nice weekend, and I'll see you next week.